Basically, the way I see it is Seoul and San Francisco care about playing NYXL or not.
Right.
But Philly or Toronto don't care if they have to play either Seoul, San Francisco, or Atlanta, which are their three options depending on how the tiebreakers and the coin flips go. So it's not in the rule book. It kind of just feels like both teams were like, ugh, we have to play another series. It's not even broadcast. This is a waste. We could be scrimming. We could be sitting in the hot tub. So you guys just want to like not do it. Like when you like a teacher that's been working for 50 years in the same school, and they're just like, can we just agree to tell the principal that we wrote the paper and I graded you on it, right?
This is the substitute teacher who wheels in the video cart on their day. They're just like, we're gonna watch a movie today, class.
Gonna watch some Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Fraggy just said, guys, we're watching Bill Nye. Just tell the teacher you did your packet, you did your worksheet. We're watching Bill Nye all day, and all the kids said, "Whoa, that sounds great, amazing, okay," and that was that. So this isn't a middle school class. This is the Overwatch League. So I'm a little concerned, but at the same time, it's not going to hurt anybody really. So
it'll hurt
whatever.
me and my
It'll hurt you
probably.
Well, you won't get to watch these games anyways, or the game that could have been. Which makes sense. Logistically, it would be weird to have this one game, this one day. We have to bring the whole crew to the arena for this and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that part I get, but the coin flip versus real full first to three game is a distinct... Someone in chat, can we get a live stream of the coin flip? I want that. Can the Overwatch League, like, put it on their Instagram story or something? Go live on Twitter. Guys, we're live with the coin flip that will decide the last playoff seed. Here we go. Blink. Just that. That's all I need. I'd be pretty happy with that, actually. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, this is ultimately not going to be a huge deal. It'll be a footnote when people look back on season 2 as a whole. But I don't want this to happen again in a later stage and it be for something like the 9 versus, or like the 8 versus the 9 seed. If this determines who actually gets into playoffs and we're stuck with a game that's being played off stream and we just hear about it after the fact, that won't feel good if that happens. So I think the league needs to figure something out in the meantime so we don't find ourselves in the same place again.
And that already almost happened. Houston and Dallas were about to do that if Houston won by 2-1 or by 3-2. So we almost saw that timeline already. And yeah, it's no stretch to say it could happen again. With 7 games every stage, that parity is that close all the time. So it's way different. It's amazing what 3 fewer games will do to teams. So yeah, I don't know. Okay. So we've decided that we've agreed that that's weird, but ultimately not the worst thing that could ever happen. In moves that are weird and could be bad or good, Shy Guy, you want to walk us through the first trade of the stage off season, I guess? Walk us through Arc being traded to the Washington Justice. Go.
Yeah, so this is a move that came very, very close to happening in the offseason. This was rumored for a long time. I mean, we already saw Wizard Young and Janice going to the Justice from NYXL. I think it was made pretty clear that they wanted to bring Arc with them. And around the same time that concerns about Washington's budget came up, that kind of fell to pieces. So, I mean, it's unclear exactly what happened on that front in the offseason. But, now they have gotten the deal done. Now that Washington has had a very tough first stage, a very tough opening to the Overwatch League, they have decided, hey, we need to go out and get some help. And they've decided to do that in the form of getting a proven shot caller in this league, someone who has had success at the highest level. And honestly, I love the move for Washington.
Kate, your thoughts?
I'm excited for it. I think it's just what Washington needed. Rip Fozix, but they need that stability. They need someone who will be able to keep Janice up, during team fights.
I will say Fozix did just tweet that he's going to make the swap to flex support. He said it's time to bust out the big Ana plays again. And given that was his original role, I know they want to keep him. From my interview that I had, the roundtable with him and Kate and Mason and Avala, they made it very clear that they valued his veteran presence on stage. They valued his analytical capability in review sessions and in-game. But Arc is Arc, and that's a move you make if you're Washington. I don't think anybody will knock them for making that sort of move, beyond to yell about their budget, which has been covered and covered and covered and covered. I got to meme about it on Twitter earlier with Kate and MKL, which was amazing. They only have 19 Teslas now. They had to take some money out of Wizard Young's, $20 million salary or whatever. I think it's okay. Like, I think Fozzic's making the swap is perfectly fine. I think Guido goes back to pocket pick. He did not necessarily impress this stage. I think Hyunu really impressed from a mechanical perspective as Lucio, but his flexibility, it was probably not enough to compete with Arc, who is Arc. I interviewed Harry Hook last season in kind of a non sequitur, and Harry Hook and Bonnie actually, and I asked them both about what makes a good shot caller, and both of them basically just said, be like Arc. Do what Arc does. He manages everything perfectly. He tracks ults. He walks his team through every team fight where they need to be, where he needs to be, and what they need to do to win, right? Having that sort of like encyclopedic knowledge of what you have to do to win the game is pretty freaking good for a team that apparently has no real social in-game leader. I asked Jonas in my interview with him recently, like, does the team have a player that they rally around in-game? Like a Mickey or something like that, right? When you're getting your butt handed to you every week, is there a guy who's kind of keeping you in the fight? And he was like, oh, no, there's really not. No. Oh, geez. And he kind of had that moment of realization. He was like, oh, that's a thing we need. Oh, no. Oh,
you think he would know that after being on a team with Art? Although right. I guess last year they didn't lose very often. They didn't need pick-me-ups nearly as much. And I
had asked him, right, and I asked him then, like, what's the difference? Why were you able to pop off on NYXL? And like, there was almost no noticeable difference between him and Mono, unless you look at it like really analytically, which I know people will yell at me for. And he was like, well, yeah, if I had an NA shatter or a really bad charge or whatever, Arc and Jonak and whoever else were there to pull me out, right? I had the entirety of NYXL at my back. It worked really well. I could feed as much as I wanted. No, he doesn't. So this is kind of a move in that direction. I mean, they're not about to trade for Jonak or anything, but like having Arc is a pretty big piece of that. And then Anamo's been doing well for NYXL, so they're not exactly hurting by losing him. So yeah.
I think this works out well for everyone involved. Like, I think perhaps if you had asked Arc earlier today or yesterday, do you want to be traded? He might not have said yes, but I still think this works out for him in the long run. He's going to get to play. And if Washington can turn things around, which his presence will help with, and perhaps a new meta will help with, he's going to get a lot of credit for that. And I think that this could wind up being a better situation for him long term than just riding Nixel's bench for the entire season.
Right. I do think the league as a whole, though, needs to stop or, start letting players know, like, hey, this is what we have in mind for you. Because, when you see the sad, Discord pictures of him being like, oh, guess I'm traded. Like that does not, it's not good.
I will say in very minor defense of that, because on all fronts I agree. Yes, please tell the players where they're going, even if they have no choice, because odds are really they don't, but at least let them know. The thing is that so I'll use this as an example, right? Kate, the GM from Washington, or any staff member from Washington, could not legally make contact with Arc while he was still on NYXL without permission from Nugget, NYXL's general manager. That is a hard rule in the Overwatch League, because otherwise you can poach the crap out of other teams and, do all manner of crazy things, right? So like that as a rule is fine. It keeps you from messing with your opponents or anything like that. But if they knew, and they had to have known, that they were shooting for Arc or any other support, maybe drop that general manager a line. Maybe say, hey, can we just talk to him and kind of let him know what's going on and how proceedings are going or anything of that nature? And that could go for any team that's trading. Huck would have done very well to have been made contact with. Sorry, that sentence kind of flipped. The other way around. Shanghai's general manager would have done well to make contact with Huck. There we go. About Gamsu, instead of saying, "Hey Gamsu, pack your stuff." Oh man, shouldn't have slept in, buddy. See ya.
Yeah.
Like I 100% agree. That was a mess, and it still is.
Yeah, it ultimately kind of just comes down to teams are trying to play things as close to the vest as possible when it comes to trades, because they don't want like rumors and leaks of trades coming out and then for some reason it falling apart. That happens all of the time in sports. I mean, way more so in regular sports than in Overwatch League, because we usually don't hear a ton about trades until they are finalized and happening. But that is the worst case scenario for a franchise. If your player gets wind of something and then it falls apart, then you've got a malcontent arc on your roster, stuck there. So I understand why they play things close to the vest, but there should never be a situation where a player like finds out about their trade via social media or something like that.
Yeah.
Because it happened to Dante too, didn't it? Like same way.
He had very limited notice. I think Flame did make contact with the staff from San Francisco. I'm not 100% on that. I don't know for sure. But it was short notice, but not like, hey, get the heck out of here, short notice,
right.
I think. And yeah, we had a deal fall through like that, allegedly, last season in Dallas, where Dallas was supposedly shooting for So What, who currently plays for MVP Space, or no, they're just Team MVP now, in Korean Contenders. He was supposed to join on as their main tank after all that happened, after they tried to put Taimo on Winston, and that didn't work. And then Slasher reported on it, and Hastro got really mad that was leaked, and the whole deal fell through. And now we have OG, which actually I'm pretty okay with, but like, I feel bad for So What, stuck in Korean Contenders still. So yeah, I there needs to be a good balance to keep the spreadsheets away from Michael and everything, but then like also let the players know. They have a right to know. I think we've cracked that case. They got to know, because that's not cool. Who needs to be making trades next? Kate, hit me. What's a team? There are two obvious ones, but if you have any others, I'm interested. And the first two as well. You can just talk about the first.
Like trades to Washington, or just
no. In general, just
okay.
Who needs to be making some swaps?
I don't like saying this, and I really don't like saying this. I think Fraggy needs to find a new home so he can play. I don't like that he's been on the bench since last April.
Beginning of stage 4 last season. Yeah.
I hate saying that. Like, I hate saying it. But he would do a lot better on a different team, I think. That would kind of appreciate him as a more aggressive Reinhardt player. And then I honestly think Space and Custa need to find new homes, especially Custa after what happened with the Valiant. I don't like saying this either, but I feel like Space would thrive. I'm not really sure where, but I think last week y'all kind of touched on like Boston kind of needing some people, kind of needing some more stronger people, and that could be a place for maybe one of them. So I don't know. That's just kind of where my thought process has kind of been.
I could definitely see any of those guys moving, which is scary because I mean the league is so young that there's this sort of permanence with teams and their players and everything, short of a few, Unko and Custa being traded and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. But yeah, to see people like that move in that way would be interesting. Shy Guy, what do you think? Are there any trades that could be made? Any teams that really need to shake things up between stages?
I'm going to agree with the free Fraggy idea there. I think it feels bad because it seems like Goats would have been such a great meta for him to be playing in, and to see him stuck on the bench the entire time was painful. But as far as a team that I think needs to make some kind of move, I got to be looking at the Paris Eternal. Like this was supposed to be their meta. They were supposed to be the Goats team that was going to show us all how it's done. Bring over that that European genius, And instead, they were middle table at best and then really fell off hard at the end of the stage. So if that was their best meta, then what is it going to look like going forward? I'm not sure that this team is going to be able to fight their way back even into kind of like wild card contention as they are currently constructed.
Who do you think they could add? Or who do you think they could get rid of?
You know, I do think they still need some kind of upgrade on the DPS side of things. They really struggled with both Shadowburn and Soon, neither of whom got to play their best heroes. They were both stuck on Zarya duty, and neither of them really lived up to expectations. So if they still need a Zarya player going forward, and you're still looking to stick with an all European roster, someone like Hardest would be a really solid pickup in my opinion. From the contender side of things, but you know they've severely limited themselves right now in picking up an entirely European roster. They are shut out of a massive portion of the tier 2 player pool.
Can I have a counter argument?
Go for it.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Nico play Zarya for France during the World Cup?
Didn't who? Sorry?
Nico.
Was Nico their
Nico.
Zarya?
Wasn't
Nico?
Nico has
I
generally
thought
been their
Six played
diva, and then
Okay.
soon still played Zarya.
He did? Okay, because I could have sworn Nico played some time on Zarya, and then Soon was the Brig. And I feel like maybe...
You could
they
be
have tried.
right.
Yeah, I feel like that's correct. I could go back and check, and if I'm wrong, feel free to attack me on Twitter or whatever, but I feel like Paris's problem isn't so much that they don't have the players, it's just they don't know where to put them. And especially in the terms of like Shadowburn, Soon, neither of whom are comfortable in Zarya. I personally think Shadowburn's a bit better. I think he kind of makes more tankier plays than Soon does. He does a lot more body blocking. Like I've noticed just from spectating both of them and then watching Soon stream, Soon is very uncomfortable on Zarya. And I just kind of wonder, maybe if Nico had taken the Zarya role, if they had put Soon on Brigitte. My issue with them lies more with their healing line more than anything. Cruz is great. He's very aggressive. Hip is... his transcendence is very wonky and weird to me. And I just kind of wonder if they had put Gray in, because they do also have Gray on the bench. Like, I just feel like they have people there. They just kind of don't know what to do with them. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. No, and I think the stage break will be very helpful for them on that. They have a great coaching staff, and that's what I brought up in the preseason, is that this team is untested, unpolished, very focused on very particular aspects of play. Their coaches need to be able to refine that to cover other things. We are at that point right now. Mm-hmm. Goats is dead. Oh, I don't want to say that and be wrong, but like, I hope so. I sure hope it's dead. And if it is, the entire supposed basis of their team that they weren't even very good at is now crumbled underneath them. And they have to entirely reshape how they're going to go about things, right? Which could be great. I mean, they could just realize, like, DPS are good now. Soon's got a pretty good Widowmaker. Shadowburn's got a pretty good Pharah and a Genji. We could do something with this. Let's go. And then suddenly be good. I mean, it could be completely opposite of what they predicted, where they're like, 3-3s are meta. No, it's not. But throw your world-class DPS players on DPS and see what you can do, If they figure that out, so much the better. If not, man, do they have to make some changes. Because if they can't survive in 3-3 or whatever replaces 3-3, you got to clean house. There are a lot of really good European players still out there. Yes, they are truncating themselves on the market by sticking to EU, if they stick to EU. But there are plenty of options. You got Get Amazed, you got Hardest, you got Davin, you got Lulzish, you got Luddy, you got Elivote. Pretty much the entirety of Angry Titans or Bridge Hurricane or anything like that. You could stick with Frenchies. You could do whatever you want. Paris could go places with European Overwatch players. But they have to at least do some experimenting in the meantime, because, man, I don't know what else. It's going to be very, very interesting to see. I think that one just about covers it in terms of trades. We could go on for forever. But I'm just kind of a fan of letting things play out and being surprised. You just watch Paris, like, we've signed like 5 people and cut these 5 people. Whoa, surprise. That'll be fun. We'll see how that goes. And speaking of contenders players, I'm going to do a quick contenders minute and talk about all the regions of contenders, where they're at right now, what they're doing, who's good, who's bad, etc. North American contenders East. Technically, it's one region. The groups are just named off of East and West, which are randomized. And North America is going on right now. The chicken contendees rather got their first win today against Bermuda. Congratulations, Connor Goopy Canoopy Knudsen, fellow co-host for WatchHaus, does their social media. So congrats to them, congrats to him, etc. He's off doing live stuff right now. That's why he's not here. South America just finished up their day, I believe, or they're pretty darn close to it. Up Gaming and Low Key Esports are looking real good, and so is X10 Esports, who I believe just finished their game against Caverna. A really entertaining region, especially because you can only watch it in Portuguese now. There's no English broadcast. And not to say that the English broadcast was bad, it's just really funny listening to them go crazy in Portuguese. Like a soccer game, they're like, "Goal!" But they do that for Overwatch. It's really fun. Chinese contenders just started on Saturday. That region, as mentioned, is very interesting. T1W, LGD, Billy Gaming, and LGE Huya, who are Hangzhou and Chengdu's academy teams respectively, are all looking crazy good, and they all hate goats so much. And it makes that region really fun and volatile and unpredictable. By the way, North American update, Fusion Uni is going to map 5 because that's what they do. Apparently Bernard is eating lots of ultimates, so good on him.
Right.
Yeah, also sounds normal for them. That's China. Let's look at Europe. Speaking of, Gigante, Angry Titans, and British Hurricane are all looking really good with some 3-0 score lines right now. Morningstar, surprisingly, Morningstars and Eternal Academy actually are both 1 and 2 right now, lower than expected, and 1 point have been poached to hell, and it hurts because I really liked that team, and I interviewed every member of that team last season, and they're all gone. It feels really bad. Sucks to suck. In Australia, the Drop Bears are being the Drop Bears. They're doing what they do. Blank Esports are putting up a really good fight so far. They are doing very well. And Order and Melbourne Mavericks are both very close behind. It's looking like another contentious season for them. That the Drop Bears will probably win again, let's be real. In Korea, there are more games tonight and tomorrow at 3 a.m. again, which hurts. Runaway, MVP, and O2 Blast are on top right now, each with a 2-0 scoreline, looking good, doing their thing. In Pacific, Talon Esports are the only team with a perfect record right now, also looking very good. There are 4 teams at 2-1 just behind them, and they are all within a map of each other, which is oh man. So expect crazy things from there. The regions with 8 teams now, the playoffs are top 6. So, playoffs are going to be just as crazy as regular season, which is going to be very, very interesting. So that's contenders right now. It's crazy. You should watch it all the time.
Runaway is trying to go for a 3rd consecutive undefeated season in Korea, which is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
I'm excited for them.
I can't.
I think they can do it.
If you're old school, if you're an old school Runaway fan, or if anyone in chat has followed Runaway for a long time, you know how it goes usually for Runaway, where they're looking real good, and then when it matters most, they get their ass beat. And that keeps almost happening, and then they clutch it out, which is very un-Runaway. But they kind of kept it. It's kind of like that Lonely Island song about the beat dropping, where the beat never drops. And then the beat drops and everybody's head explodes. That's going to be Runaway when they finally lose. All the Runaway fans who know what that's like are going to be like, I remember, I'm taken back to a year long ago, 2018, where they lost Apex twice, or Apex once and Contenders once. And then they started winning and they never stopped until now. So that's going to be very interesting. Hopefully they keep it going because, man, I love Runaway. Don't get me wrong. But, yeah, it's scary, very scary. My head's going to explode one day, and that'll be the end of that. Getting back into the Overwatch League, which is kind of a big deal if you guys haven't heard of it yet. There are some games going on next week, which are also going to be big. They're playoffs even. And I kind of wanted to pick your guys' brains about which games or which game, singular, you guys are looking forward to the most, that you think will be the most contentious, the most exciting, the closest, the biggest, the most surprising, anything like that. Kate, if you want to get us started, any ideas?
Um, for me, it's about emotional investment at this point. So if Philly can make it, whoever they face, that would be nice to see. I personally think they could make top 3 if they really just tried and weren't themselves for like 5 minutes. They could do it. So that's who I'm kind of most excited to see. But NYXL is probably gonna take it all. So I'm just kind of excited to see the grand final match, which I think will be against Vancouver in the end.
Okay,
So.
okay. I think Poco just needs to take another shower, and it will be good. They will be A-okay. If he takes another shower and they film it, they're good. They're perfect.
Yeah. As long as we have Boombox, apparently. He's the key. So.
Right? Undefeated. Boombox is undefeated in the Overwatch League.
He is undefeated.
Big deal. Shy Guy, what do you got? I can only imagine.
I mean, for me, it's kind of hard right now because we still don't know what most of our first round matchups are going to be until that coin toss comes down tomorrow. So we're speculating a little bit. The one that we do know for absolute certain is that we've got Vancouver against Boston in the 1-8 matchup. And, honestly, I do think this is going to be a really good game. Boston has proven over the course of the stage that, as long as Fusions is in the lineup, they are going to be a really, really good GOATS team. I think at this point it's kind of clear that Vancouver is a cut above when they're playing at their best. But that should still be a really fun matchup to watch. And then obviously I think everyone kind of has their sights set on the finals for this stage. Everyone expects Vancouver and Nixel to clash there. And I can't say I think it's going to be any different. I do have to disagree just a little bit with Kid. I think Vancouver can take it here. I'm trying to overlook my bias, but their peaks this stage have just been a little bit higher, I think, than Nixels have been.
Well, that's the thing about NYXL, though. They kind of just do that, and then they'll decide last minute, hey, we remember who we are now. We're going to take you down. So just kind of going off of like that's kind of how I see it going. But I would love if Vancouver won. That would be amazing. Flowervin would just be so proud, and we would all cry. It would be wonderful.
For the story, it's got to be Vancouver. But for the spice, I think it's got to be San Francisco. I was going to say Toronto because I'm really excited to see who they play and how they play. But at the same time, they've kind of had a couple weeks off now. And that's usually historically been pretty bad for teams. The teams that got a bye week for last season's season playoffs were immediately knocked out. It was pretty bad. I'm afraid of that happening to Toronto. I'm afraid of them not being able to withstand the pressure, given that they're a new team. Many eyes will be on them, and everybody will be bringing their best. I think they're damn good, far better than I thought they were going to be. Frankly, I had them in the lower teens or so, but this is pretty good from Toronto this stage, which could mean some big things, or could mean they're kind of one and done, and then they go, oh, that's how you lose in playoffs. Okay, we don't want to do that again. See you next stage. If they make it, awesome. If they don't, San Francisco, I think, are going to come in with the biggest Chad energy of all. Baby Bay told me they've got strats planned. They've got plans that involve him, which should be interesting. We haven't seen him at all.
That would be
spicy.
Who knows? We could have they could play New York, and that could be spooky. It could be a Pine versus Baby Bay, Ilios, yeehaw, rodeo action nonsense. Many things could happen. As you said, Shy Guy, we don't know damn near half of these matchups yet. So it's a little weird to kind of run predictions on this. But I think no matter where they end up, San Francisco will at least make an entertaining game. I think Sinatra's been playing out of his mind. I think Super has been hit or miss, but usually hit. I would say I guess they never miss, but sometimes he does. I think ATL could really be a dark horse, but I don't know. They've kind of given us some different looks in the past couple weeks. I think people are kind of learning that Dufran will really just grab whatever.
Oh my
He's
god,
just gonna do
it's
it,
killing me.
and that the Torb can be countered. They figured that out, and without that, it's I don't know. And Dogman's getting better.
They've still got the Bastion.
Right, and they've got the Bastion. They've got crazy picks, but these are teams that can adapt to those things. This isn't Florida. These are some big names in this top 8. So they're gonna have to show us something real. Go even further beyond. Or they're gonna be out. So right now, San Francisco. Very interested to see how that team does. I think they could do very well. Or they could totally get their asses beat by New York.
One thing to throw out with Atlanta, they're locked into the 5 spot, which means they're either going up against Toronto or Philly in the first round. Both teams they played earlier in the stage, got a win against Toronto, went down to Philly in week 1. So either way, we get a rematch, and makes things a little more interesting, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm with Dogman. I want that Philly Atlanta rematch really bad.
That would be spice. I just want more trash talk. I want more Carpe as a feeder. They did a segment. They did a segment where he was talking about, it was like him and Cruz and one other guy.
It was Stratus.
Yeah. Sorry, man. Oh, I feel bad about that. Poor guy. He just. Why didn't you tell me that in our interview?
For real.
Yes. It probably happened after the interview, to be fair. But like, dude, that takes balls. Arguably one of the greatest DPS players in the game right now. You walk over and you say, hey, in his language that you don't speak, you go, hey, noob, idiot, shake his hand and walk away. Whoa, dude.
Just put Carpe on Widow for 5 minutes and let him teabag and I'll be good.
It'll happen. Carpe will go Tracer, Widow, dunk on the Zen. I don't care if I die so long as Dogman dies first all game long. He will.
God, I need it so bad. Please, coin toss.
The righteous, sneaky, smelly fart, as famous YouTuber Germa985 has often said, in Dogman's face. It will be glorious. I am very interested to see how that one goes, if it goes. So yeah. But no matter what, trash talk, please. Please trash talk. I will be fishing for that so hard in my interviews. I'll be like, hey, going into the semifinals, say something mean, please. Give me a headline. It largely works. So we'll kind of see how that goes. So predictions to take it all. I think we're all sort of somewhat a little agreed. I'm going to say Vancouver just because you can't not say Vancouver. Shy Guy, you also said Vancouver?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
And then Kate, you said
my heart's with Vancouver, but my mind says NYXL.
And that's fair.
I'll be happy either way. More
Okay.
happy for Vancouver though.
I agree. I think it'll be hype. I think that's about all we've got. It was a bit of a short week, so we've got a bit of a short episode here. But I think we've covered some important stuff. And I think it'll be very interesting to see how what we've discussed here comes to pass in weeks to come and in the games to come. So keep an eye on that. Be sure to follow us on @WatchHaus_, house spelled the German way, not like a normal house, which some people get us on. They're like, hey, are you from Watch like House, but like the normal house? I'm like, no. So follow us on there the right way and let us know your predictions for the stage and why. And who do you think is going to get traded and why? And how bad it feels to be a Dallas fan right now and why. I'll like those for sure. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. All right. I'm going to go be sad now. So thanks very much for being on with me, you two. Be sure to check us out over at thegamehouse.com/Overwatch, where we post recaps and previews and interviews and all sorts of really cool written and video stuff. You can check it like every day. We're updating every day, and it's amazing. I'll post a couple more links in here, actually, of a couple cool articles that I didn't mention at the start of the episode. Katrina actually recently posted an article about women's merchandising in the Overwatch League, which I thought was really good. So I'm going to post that here, and you guys can go read it after you're done listening to this right now. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Night.